Maple TA Lesson 11B, homework question number 7. The local orchestra has been invited to play at a festival. There are 111 members of the orchestra, and 6 are licensed to drive large multi-passenger vehicles. Buses hold 25 people, but are much more expensive to rent. Passenger vans hold 12 people. Create a system of equations to find the smallest number of buses the orchestra can rent. And I'm going to read further on this question as opposed to the last one. X is going to be the number of buses and Y is the number of vans. So here I've just gleaned the information. I have 111 members, 6 can drive, buses are 25 people, vans can hold 12, and this time I'm not just guessing. X is buses, Y is vans, and we need to create 2 equations. The first one representing the number of vehicles needed, and the next one creating the equation of the total number of seats, or how many orchestra members. So the first thing I know is that these will be the total that I'm looking for, which is really nice in these story problems. I know that I'm looking for total members and total vehicles, which tells me the 6 people who are licensed are going to be the ones driving the vehicles. Okay, so the first one is create an equation representing the number of vehicles needed. So I have 6 people who can drive. X is buses and Y is vans, so I'm going to add the buses and the vans, and I can only get to 6 people because only 6 are licensed to drive. The next one is representing the total number. This is where our members are going to be, and I can even put in the 111 at the end so that we know that we're getting to that point. I'm going to have some members on buses and some members on vans. So I'm going to also know that I have buses and vans being added together here. But I can't just add just the number of buses and the number of vans. On the bus, I have 25 people can fit on a bus, and here 12 people can fit on the van. So now I have my 2 formulas, and I can try and copy and paste these like I did last time, but in this case I'm going to, before we press enter, get rid of all of these extra spaces and make sure that I don't have any capitals. Again, with this one, just the formatting from Word to, oops, that's not what I meant. I wanted to copy, oops, not again, copy, and then paste, and get rid of all of these extra spaces that Maple TA does not recognize, and I think we're good there. Okay, the next thing is to actually solve my system of equations, and since this one's really a small equation right here, I'm going to go ahead and take it and solve for, let's solve for x, because that's pretty fast. To solve for x, I just need to subtract y from both sides, and I'm done. So I end up with x being left on the left-hand side, and I have a negative y plus 6. Then I'm going to take that and substitute it into this next formula. And we're going to substitute it every time we see the variable x. And I'm going to replace the x with parentheses and then take whatever I have x is equal to and put it inside those parentheses. Okay, so using the distributive property, 25 times negative y gives me negative 25y, and 25 times positive 6 gives me positive 150, and then I have plus 12y equals 111. Okay, so now I'm going to continue by adding my variables here. Negative 25 and positive 12 gives me negative 13y. And I still have this 150 over here. And on the right hand side, I have my 111. Okay, so now I need to continue solving for y by subtracting 150 from both sides. Minus 150 and minus 150. And then positive 150 minus 150 gives me 0. And then 111 minus 150 gives me negative 39 on the right-hand side. And on the left-hand side, I just have this negative 13y. And just to keep all the equal sign all lined up, I'm going to do this negative 39. And then to continue solving for y, I'm going to divide by the 13, negative 13. Negative 13 divided by negative 13 is 1. Divide by negative 13. And so I end up with y equals on the left-hand side. And negative 39 divided by 13 gives me positive 3. And then I'm going to take my equation that I've already solved for x, which is fast, and substitute in what I got for y, again putting parentheses even though it's small, so that I can see that I end up with negative 3 plus 6 gives me positive 3. And so my answer, I could write it in a coordinate point like this as 3, 3, the ordered pair, and in this case, because I'm interpreting, x being the number of buses and y being the number of vans, they both ended up being 3, so I know I need 3 buses and 3 vans, and we can just verify that with the how did I do.